Hello everyone, Nicholas Thayer here with you, another Ableton tutorial. Before we jump in today, big shout out to everybody who's joining on the Patreon. Link in the description below if you're watching this on YouTube. And if you're signed up to the Patreon today, you get this whole project, which includes a whole bunch of cool shit that I'm about to generate. If you're not signed up to the Patreon, then do hit subscribe. It makes a lot. It helps me keep making these videos. So, without further ado, what are we looking at today? Well, today I want to jump into an idea about making some templates, in particular one template, to do with generating drum kits. So it's sort of a way of a little bit of programming, a little bit of preparation that then gives you a lot of options to very quickly and handily get a whole bunch of interesting drum sounds up and happening. So you might notice I've done a little bit of prep for today's session. I've made a bunch of snare drums, a bunch of kick drums, and I have 3 field recordings here. Let's have a little listen to some of these. We just have a snare drum, another snare drum. Ooh, punchy. Some kick drums, and then some field recordings that maybe sound like some paper, or some water, or some cans. And this is going to be our source material today. These kick drums I made using Kick 2. Snare drums I made using 7 Deadly Snares. Shout out to both of those guys. Amazing plugins. But these are all rendered as audio. And we're going to just use some of Ableton's tools to turn these into sort of really functional ways that we can generate drum kits and drum grooves. So, the first thing I'm going to do, bring in a drum rack. So we go to instruments here. Let's clear that search bar. Drum rack is already highlighted. And we bring in a drum rack. And I'm going to put my kick on C1 because a lot of pre-made MIDI clips start like that, and it just makes a lot of sense. So I'm just going to drag down this kick into C1 on the drum rack like that. And it turns it into a simpler. Now, I want to have a few different options available here. I want to put a few different kicks into that all going to happen on C1. So, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to group it. Click on it, Command G. That turns it into a group. And in this case, a group means an instrument rack. Now, before I go and load a bunch more stuff in, I'm going to save myself a bunch of programming time by already doing a few things here. So, some of the things that we're going to want to change and have easily accessible. I'm going to make these things into some macros already using this kick, and then we're going to just sort of duplicate that and replace it with a bunch of the other kicks. So we're going to open up the macros control here. And I'm going to leave macro 1 blank for now because we're going to use that to cycle through the selections. But what might we want to control? Well, we might want to be able to control the pitch of the kick. So I'm going to click on transpose. I'm going to click on map there, and I'm already going to constrain that range so it only goes up or down an octave. So -12 to +12. You might want to also be able to control a low pass filter. So I'm going to turn the filter on, and I'm going to connect that to this macro. So that's a low pass filter. We might also want to be able to control how sensitive the kick is to velocity information. So I'm going to map that to the macro control. I mean, you can really go all out on this stuff. Things that you feel are interesting for you. But for now, I'm going to leave it at that in the interests of pushing forward in this video. So I'm just going to duplicate that. How many more kicks do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more kicks. So I'm going to duplicate that 6 more times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then I'm simply going to replace the kick in here. Now what that means is that all of that mapping that I just did in the macro stuff, it's already done for all of these kicks that I'm now replacing as well. We're going to go to the shorter kick and replace that with the afters kick. And we're going to go here and replace that with the punchy kick. So now you can see, like, when I can change this filter frequency, no matter which kick drum it's on, it's controlling it. When I change the transpose, you can see here, no matter which kick drum is, you get the idea. now I'm going to make first thing I need to make a chain selector so I can choose between. So I'm going to click on chain here. And as you can see, if I was to press the MIDI note C1 to trigger the kick drum now, we're going to get all of them triggered at once. I'm just going to spread these out. So we're going to go here, and we're going up to 3 and 4 and 5. And 6. And so now this is what selects which kick drum is being played. Only when this rests above the little blue line is that kick drum going to get played. So I'm going to connect that with this macro over here. So I'm going to click on you and click on that, and we now have a chain selector, and we don't need to go 0 to 127. We only want to go 0 to 6, as we discovered. So now, when I move this all the way through, we're able to quickly and easily choose between our kick drums. So I'm going to rename that from instrument rack to kicks, because it's multiple kicks. And over here, I'm going to connect these macros that I've just made on the kick drum. Let's rename this as well to kicks, so we know what's going on. So we're going to rename... what am I doing? We're going to connect these macros that are in the kick drum instrument rack to the macros for the drum rack. So I'm going to click on this macro, I'm going to click on map, and I'm just going to move all of these across. So click and here, and let's rename that to kick select. We're going to click on this, we're going to put that there, and this is going to be kick pitch. We're going to click on you, we're going to click on you, and we're going to say kick filter. And we're going to click on you, and we're going to click on you, and we're going to say kick sensitivity. Yep, that sounds about right. That will do for now. Let's add one more that sort of comes at the end that we can sort of control the volume of all of the kicks with. So I'm going to use just a utility for that. I'm going to put that right at the end. So I'm going to put it behind. If I was to put it here, this would only control the volume of the punchy kick. Putting it after that controls the volumes of the kick, but not the volumes of the whole drum rack in here. So now let's connect that to a macro inside here as well. So we're going to map that gain to that. Oh, wait, what's going on? That gain. Oh, that's outside. So I can do it straight to the other macros. Is it? Is that the way it is? Map. Yeah, brilliant. So I don't even need to do the dual mapping, and we can map that to that. And let's call that kick volume. I'm just going to add an extra row of things so I can keep these. Oh, we need a few more actually. So we're going to go like that. We're going to have a bunch of macros for this, which is really nice. Okay, now I'm basically going to repeat that process with the snares. You can fast forward through this, or I'm going to talk you through it again in case you missed something. So, going to drag a snare onto D1. I'm going to turn that into a group. Going to, first of all, map some of the macros from the snare, and basically the same things that I did for the kick. So I'm going to connect, what did we have? We had the tuning. We had, I need to turn the filter on. We had a filter frequency, and we had a sensitivity. And now I'm going to duplicate that. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 snares. So let's come back here. Drum rack. Let's duplicate another 7 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's replace the samples. There we go. 2 more. You're going there. And 1 more. You're going there. Ooh, that is a loud snare. Appropriately named. And now we're going to also do that thing with the utility at the end. So we have a control for the snare volume. Ooh, I just thought of something that I didn't do with this mapping, with the kick volume. Exactly. We want to change that to 0, not 35. Otherwise, we're going to blast our eardrums off and everybody else is in the process. Okay, so now we're going to do the same thing over here. We're going to, first of all, we need to set the chain selector options here. So we're going to go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay, and we're going to map the chain selector to there. There we go. Now let's connect all of these things from the snare drum. Rename you snares. Rename this snares. And we're going to basically do the same thing as we did with the kick. So let's map first of all there to you. We're going to name you snare select. Going to connect you to there. Snare pitch. We're going to connect you to there. Snare cutoff. We're going to connect you to there. Snare sense. Let's rename this to kick cutoff because that makes more sense. Yeah, lovely, lovely, lovely. I think I missed a thing with the chain selector, did I? Yeah, this only needs to go to 7. Right. And the volume at the end here. Connect you to you, and let's again make that to 0, please. Okay. So now I'm just going to program in a simple beat. We're at 160 BPM. It is a Wednesday afternoon after all. Okay, so let's then make this kind of a 2-bar situation. 2 bars, please. Yes. And let's have something that goes something a bit like that. Yeah. That sounds like that's going to be a little bit, let's have a listen. Hey, that sounds like a beat. But now, the way that we've set this up is we can, as you can hear, quickly and easily switch through a bunch of these options. Oh yeah, these are really quiet, so let's bang you up a bit. Why are you so loud? Kick drum? What did I do there? That's right. Let's just back it off a little bit then. Okay. So you can, we can quickly and easily switch through pitch options, selection options, cutoff options. But we're only getting started here. Okay, let's just press stop on you for now, because we're going to add another element now. We're going to add these Foley sounds. So again, what these sound like, these are just long recordings. As you can see, this is a long recording using a hydrophone underwater, recording something or other. This is some recordings I made recently of some aluminium cans, and this is some recordings of some paper crumpling. So we're going to use these in a slightly different way, but also as in a generative kind of a way. So we're going to come back to the drum rack. I'm going to put these on D sharp 1. So we're going to put you there. And again, I'm going to already set some macros so that I don't need to duplicate my work. Command G. Slightly different macros on this one. We're going to change it from trigger to gate, because we don't want it to play through the whole sample. We just want it to play when the MIDI is happening. To gate, and we're going to, is this what I want? Yes, and I want to switch it to classic mode because I want to be able to control some of the ADSR envelope options here. And yes, so now we're going to map some of these things. We're going to map the release time to you, and we maybe don't want it to go all the way up to 60 seconds, maybe like 7 seconds is going to be enough for our purposes. And that's actually all I want to do for now, is it? No, I'm going to also change the filter to a high pass filter and be able to control that. So let's then also map the filter frequency to here. And again, I'm going to group that. And I'm going to duplicate that only 2 more times, and this time I'm going to bring in the carbonated water here, and I'm going to bring in the paper crumpling, rustling can. Aha, I remembered the other thing that I really need to macro here, and this is very important. And we're going to do this actually not with a macro. Sorry, I'm being a little bit all over the place today. I'm going to do this with an expression control. We're going to drag that before. I'm going to use a random input. So every time there's a new MIDI note that comes in, this gets randomized. And we're going to map that to the start point of the sample. So what that means is that each time a new MIDI note comes in, it's picking a little different bit of the sample that is going to play. So we're getting a constant change. It's going to obviously choose the same sample. It's not changing too much about it. We're going to choose random. We're going to map that to the start point. And we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to map you to the start point. So now each time we trigger with the rustling can or the paper or the carbonated water, it's going from a different place, and that's going to be quite interesting. Yes, so now I'm going to connect. We need to do the chain selector thing. You are there. Come on, move please. There we go. And there we go. We're going to map the chain selector to macro 1. Oh, why is that not working? We're going to map the chain selector to macro 1. We're now going to map that chain selector to there. Okay. And now we're going to connect these over here. So we're going to choose map here. We're going to call this Foley select. We're going to call this Foley decay. We're going to connect you to here, and you're going to be Foley cutoff. And we need a volume after all the Foley stuff, so that's going to be in there. Turn off mapping, please. We're going to use a utility again. Utility in here. We're going to map the gain of that to here. Where did that go? There we go, 0. And I just remembered I need to change this mapping to go from 0 to 2, not 0 to 127. There we go, 0 to 2. So now we can also quickly and easily move through some of the chain selector options. Let's change this Foley gain. Okay, so, and let's see what that's going to do. So the reason I've added that, let's add this as a layer on top of the snare. And it's now sounding like this. Yeah, of course we soloed that. So we're using currently the paper crumbling sound. We can make it nice and tight. We can change the sound. So you can hear how that Foley sound is the same, but it's adding a slightly different layer each time on top of the snare drum there. This is going to continue generating stuff. I'm going to actually change that mapping so we have a bit more gain option on that. So That's you here. Foley gain. Let's make you go to a maximum of 15. There we go. Now I'm also going to do a little bit more stuff with this Foley sound. We're going to add a compressor after, so it affects all of the Foley sounds. And I'm going to sidechain that against the snare. So we're going to sidechain that against our drum rack, and we're going to choose snares. So now it's ducking down behind the snares. Now, we can manually control all of this stuff. That's kind of cool. I really like that. But we can also save snapshots with the macros here. But we can also randomize all of this shit. So this is where it comes into really interesting stuff about just, we've created a bunch of options. We've set up some parameters. We said these are the 7 kicks we can choose from. These are the snares we can choose from. These are the blah, blah, blah. The rest shit we can choose from. But now I can just hit random here. Interesting. So I'm thinking that the volume options are maybe a bit too much, or maybe I don't want to be randomizing those so much. Let's change that. That's snare volume. So the reason I wanted to do this tutorial is to show you how a little bit of preparation like this, and we can set up something that gives us a lot of options straight away. As you can hear, it's such a simple beat, and I didn't include any effects on this. No processing, no reverbs, no looping stuff, none of that kind of stuff, but just as a way of, beginning to put this shit together. So that was kind of what I wanted to get through today. Hope you got something out of it. Really appreciate all the support. Drop a comment below if you have something that you would like a video on, like a tutorial on. Patreon subscribers, you can download this ish. Blat blat.